This week's Off the Script is brought to you by WrestleRumble.com. Wrestle Rumble for the entirety of WrestleMania season is holding a raffle in which you could win not only one, but two custom-made WWE Championship title belts. One will be one of your own choosing. The other one will be a classic old-school Winged Eagle WWF Championship title. The rules are simple. Go to WrestleRumble.com. One entry will cost you $10. Drawing ends on March 31st, and Wrestle Rumble will be using random.org to determine the winner. Once again, you guys have up until March 31st at 4:45 p.m., and the drawing will take place at 5 p.m. that very same day. Once again, that's WrestleRumble.com, and hopefully one of you listening to Off the Script this month will be a two-time World Heavyweight Champion. Is WrestleMania going to be 8 hours long this year? Are you fucking kidding me? And Vince McMahon is not a fan of this recent NXT Call-Up. Who is it and why? We'll talk about it right here on Off the Script.
This is mine.
Alive with it. People still Man, you're not going to find a bigger professional wrestling fan than me. I love pro wrestling. I love a lot of things. And I know I've mentioned this before in the past, okay? I don't give a shit what you like. I don't give a shit if it's a band, a food, a TV show. You're not watching or doing anything for 8 hours consecutively, okay? I love music. I love music. I love a variety of bands, whether it's Dream Theater, Dragon Force, Alter Bridge, Symphony X, the list goes on and on. I would never, in my right mind, sit there for 8 hours and watch any of them perform consecutively. I would be done by hour 3. Easy. Maybe even less than that. Standing, wanting food and drink, etc., etc. Bathroom breaks, the people, the large quantities of people that will be there. Who wants to deal with that for 8 hours? Well, WWE thinks that you want to deal with that for 8 hours. WrestleMania is seemingly getting bigger and bigger and longer every single year. And people are just dumb to the fact that WrestleMania is not WrestleMania anymore. It is a shell of its former self. WWE seems like they're trying to relive the glory that was WrestleMania and make it into this grand spectacle. But they fall flat on their face when trying to do that. WrestleMania does not need to be 8 hours. I don't give a shit what WrestleMania is to everybody in the wrestling business. It doesn't need to be 8 hours. I mean, just look at Wrestle Kingdom this year. Look at Wrestle Kingdom in 2019 compared to 2018. Now, a lot of you might think that Wrestle Kingdom 2018 was the overall better show, but I disagree. I disagree with that. Do you want to know why? Because I loved the flow, I loved the match order, and I loved the length of the matches that Wrestle Kingdom in 2019 provided everybody, and it lasted about 4.5 hours. That is a great selling point for me to watch Wrestle Kingdom again next year. And you know what they're going to do next year? Instead of doing 6.5, 7 hours, they're breaking it up into 2 nights. So, If you're asking me which Wrestle Kingdom I liked, I'm going to take the shorter version. I thought it was great. I stayed awake. I was attentive. I wasn't falling asleep. I thought it was awesome. I went to Orlando for WrestleMania 31. And I remember that the pre-show started at 5. The actual show started at 7. And WrestleMania that year didn't end till like 12:10, 12:15. I'm in the fucking sweltering heat in Orlando, Florida at some random Airbnb. And I'm sweating my balls off. I actually fell asleep during the show. And then I had to get up and do a fucking review. Which I didn't even do. I gave you my quick thoughts on what I thought of WrestleMania and everything that happened. And then I came back to New York and I did a full-fledged review. The show was too long. And the show does not warrant being 7.5 hours. There's nothing on that show that warrants it being 7.5 hours. And we're going to go over the entirety of the event card for WrestleMania this year and the proposed matches that are yet to be officially announced. And I want you to look at the common theme of the main card that's been announced already. I want you to pay attention to it. And I'm going to point out where WWE continues to fuck up every single year. Everybody wants to go to WrestleMania because it's the destination for pro wrestling, right? Oh, you got to go to one. If you've never been to one, you got to go. And if you went one year, you got to go the next year and the year after that and the year after that because WWE just brings everything to life. The entrances are amazing. The ambiance and the atmosphere is just electric, right? All this bullshit. Meanwhile, you're paying all this X amount of money to sit there for 8 hours to watch professional wrestling. Mind you, professional wrestling that is subpar. Subpar. Okay? WWE doesn't even put an important aspect on Wrestlemania. Wrestle being the key word. You gotta get your money's worth, some people say. So give me quality. Give me quality over quantity. I would sit there for an extended period of time if the matches that they were presenting actually meant something. I would rather sit at home and be amongst people I care about with the comfort of my own home around me. No lines waiting for the bathroom. 8 hours. Do you know what you got to do for 8 hours? Long lines. How many alcoholic beverages are you going to need to consume WrestleMania in 8 hours? How much food are you going to need to be content at the end of the day? Sitting there watching an 8-hour show. How many times do you got to go to the bathroom during this show? You're out of your fucking mind if you want to sit there for 8 hours. And again, the most important aspect to me is the fact that the card doesn't even deserve to be 8 hours. Unreal. You people are unreal if you are in agreement to this. Oh, you gotta get your money's worth. My money's worth should go to something that is actually of importance. Not fucking Bobby Lashley. Or The Miz and Shane McMahon. Or Kurt Angle. Give me a fucking break. Has-beens that are trying to relive their former glory. It's fucking ridiculous. Look at this card. Look at the common theme of this card. And then legitimately, as a follow-up question, ask yourself, how much of this do I truly care about? Ronda Rousey, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title. The one thing I legitimately care about. I think it's going to be a great match, especially with heel Ronda Rousey, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch going all the way and finally ending this chapter of the women's division. The Ronda Rousey saga is going to come to an end. It's going to be a great match. I am invested. I've been invested since November when Becky Lynch's face was broken, and I'm invested now. Obviously, WWE has fucked it up along the way, here and there, but I am still invested because that's how much I care about Becky Lynch, and that's how much I've enjoyed Ronda Rousey's heel turn, minus all the fake bullshit. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. Okay, this is for the Universal Championship. I don't give a fuck about this. The right man won the Royal Rumble, but WWE has done a piss poor job in getting me to care about this. Brock Lesnar is a part-time superstar who has not been on television the majority of the year, So that is a slot that in future WrestleManias needs to be given to someone else. Especially it being a championship match. The guy has not even been on TV for the majority of this build. He's not been on TV the majority of the fucking year. And he's in one of the main events of WrestleMania again because they're paying him all this amount of money and he's Brock Lesnar. Part-timer. No holds barred match. Triple H versus Batista. I've lobbied for a Batista return. I love Dave Batista. I think he's great. Hollywood Batista is fucking awesome. The promo on Monday Night Raw was intense, but it didn't get me any more excited about their upcoming match than it did the week before. In fact, it might have made things worse. Give me what I want. I wish I could tell that to Vince McMahon. Give me and what everybody else wants. Quality. 2 part-timers, folks. Triple H is in charge of NXT and everything else that isn't hands-on by Vince McMahon. He is the brainchild behind NXT. He is the COO. CEO. Hopefully soon. Get this fucking old geezer out of here. Vince. COO. Triple H. He's an executive. And he's still wrestling. Batista. Batista hasn't been here since 2014. So, Ronda Rousey, I didn't even mention, is going away after WrestleMania. So she's going on that Brock Lesnar hiatus and will be only used when WWE deems it important. So Ronda Rousey's going to fit nicely and comfortably in that part-time role. Or, she's going to have an off-season, unofficially. So Ronda, Lesnar, Triple H, and Batista in the top 3 matches. Ronda's been full-time, which I actually respect, but she's going away. For whatever reason, personal reason, or just to heal her body and take a break. Clear her mind. Ronda, Lesnar, Triple H, and Batista. Look at that. 4. I was doing 3. 4. Ronda you could put in there maybe. If not, it's up to your discretion. But, 3. Realistically, 3. Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and Batista. Kurt Angle's retirement match. I think this is awesome. Okay? Especially if they book it right. It's got to make sense. Can't be some fucking goon. It can't be somebody that doesn't fit the bill for Kurt Angle's match. Can't be a fucking Baron Corbin or Bobby Lashley or somebody that doesn't really, fit into this storyline. God forbid it ends up being Baron Corbin. Kurt Angle's retirement match could be something cool. It could tie up loose ends. And the fact that Monday Night Raw happened last night and they were in Chicago at the Allstate Arena, it's very bizarre. And it's kind of cool that Kurt Angle is scheduled to announce that he is going to announce his opponent for WrestleMania. John Cena and his first match during the confrontation with Kurt Angle back many years ago happened in Chicago and at that very same arena, at the Allstate Arena. That makes sense right there. That is the culmination of both men's careers. John Cena versus Kurt Angle is something that I would actually be interested in. But Kurt Angle's retirement match, I want to throw it out there, no matter how great Kurt Angle really is, and he is undoubtedly one of the greatest to ever do it. You gave this man anything, and he did it to perfection. One of the greatest in-ring performers that you and I and our children will ever see do it. But he's a part-timer. He's a Hall of Famer. He's at the age of 50. And this is a common theme at WrestleMania that WWE just seemingly cannot get away from. Look at the fucking spots in the top 4 matches on this card. They're taken up by people who aren't there full time. Spots that should be given to full-time talent. And it doesn't end there. Shane McMahon is on the card again. The obligatory singles match for Shane McMahon versus The Miz. So, out of the top 5 matches on this list, the common theme is spots that should be given to full-timers are taken up by McMahons, Hall of Famers, and part-timers. It's disgusting. Yes, this is WrestleMania. This is what you might think of when you see WrestleMania. But how many spots are you legitimately taking away from everybody else? And you don't know how much of an effect that has on the overall fucking show. This causes WWE to book WrestleMania in a manner in which it needs 17 fucking matches. Because the guys that should be in these matches have to get their own matches, which extends the length of the show. Nobody wants to fucking call a spade a spade. Nobody wants to sit here and be logical. No, they want to say, oh, it's WrestleMania. I'm going to enjoy myself. Let me overload my fucking gut on buffalo wings and beer. It's not the Super Bowl, people. It's not the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl doesn't last fucking 8 hours. AJ Styles versus Randy Orton singles match. I'm excited for it. After that promo last week on SmackDown Live, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Absolutely brilliant. Perfect promo by both men. Cruiserweight title. That's a match that's been announced. Buddy Murphy, the champion, is going to defend the title against Tony Nese and Cedric Alexander. Will it be on the main show? Probably not. Probably not. Probably on the fucking pre-show. As always. So that's a scheduled match there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 matches. 7 matches. Okay? Now, if we go to what is being talked about, that hasn't even been announced yet. Look at how many titles have not even been given a spot on this card yet. Daniel Bryan, more than likely, will be defending the title against Kofi Kingston. The WWE Championship match will be Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Kofi Kingston could lose the gauntlet match on SmackDown Live, and WWE could add Kevin Owens and Mustafa Ali, making this a fatal 4-way. We don't know. We don't know. And if it doesn't end up being a fatal 4-way, where do those guys fit after being an integral part of what is going on here in this storyline? Especially Mustafa Ali. Kevin Owens, I mean, he just came back and he was given a WWE title opportunity in his first couple weeks back. Mustafa Ali was the guy that got hurt that Kofi Kingston replaced. So where are you going to put them? A battle royal? That means nothing? That's on the pre-show? After these guys were main eventing pay-per-views? Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. Possible for the WWE Championship. Asuka, SmackDown Live Women's Champion, doesn't even have a match yet. And right now it's rumored that WWE is doing a triple threat match with Asuka, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville. Last year, Charlotte and Asuka tore the house down. And this year, Asuka has Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Lack of planning on WWE's behalf. They gave the title to Asuka, and it's as if it's on Carmella. Bayley and Sasha Banks, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Now, obviously, I mean, it doesn't take a fucking scientist to figure out what they're doing with the tag team titles. I mean, they could do better, but at least they're trying. But what they're doing and trying with doesn't really amount to interest. Beth Phoenix and Natalya, there's a reason why they're being paired together. This buddy-buddy team, the Divas of Doom, is what they're coining them as. They got this little thing going on with Nia Jax and Tamina. God forbid that's a standalone match at WrestleMania. So what is WWE going to do? Well, clearly there was a big brawl last week on Monday Night Raw in the gorilla position, if you guys seen, after Tamina and Nia Jax and the Divas of Doom got into it. Sasha and Bayley were back there, so clearly they're setting up a possible triple threat or a fatal 4-way with a SmackDown Live team to be added, and I'm assuming, just based on what we're seeing, if you guys have eyes open on social media, the Iconics have been very vocal about Sasha and Bayley not coming to SmackDown Live. So I could see them being added, which all in all makes it a garbage throwaway match. This is just something to get the titles on the show that doesn't really generate any interest. Now, if WWE really wanted to be smart and wanted to do something special about WrestleMania, they could have easily did Sasha and Bayley, a team from SmackDown, a team from Raw, and a team from NXT. But, I mean, what the fuck do I know? What the fuck do I know? Anyway, moving on. The Revival, Raw Tag Team Champions. They don't have a match either. They don't have a match at all. Right now, we got Alistair Black and Ricochet. They're the hottest thing right now in the tag team division. They've been booked fairly well. And the simple fact is, there's no other teams on Monday Night Raw for the Revival to defend the titles against. So we might be seeing Alistair Black and Ricochet in tag team title matches on both Saturday and Sunday night. One for the NXT tag team titles against the War Raiders and against the Revival on WrestleMania Sunday. I don't think they're going to beat the War Raiders, but I do think that they will beat the Revival. That's a match that I could get behind, and that's something that if they give all four of these guys a decent amount of fucking time in 8 hours, which should be no excuse, they could tear the house down. The Usos versus the Hardys. Now, leave it to WWE to add teams to this. It's fine the way it is. The Hardys and the Usos. They went back on social media, and the Usos called out the Hardys. Matt's been calling out the Usos, welcoming a stay at the Uso Penitentiary on Twitter. Leave it to WWE to fuck up a classic match that could be a first time ever, I believe, at WrestleMania especially, with fucking teams that don't even deserve to be there. I guarantee you they'll end up adding The Bar and Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev because they got nothing planned for those two teams. And again, I'll touch on something that I constantly repeat over and over and over again. And it's the simple fact of if they or these guys don't have anything important to do, that's what the Battle Royal is for. Put them in the Battle Royal. Not everybody needs to be on WrestleMania's card. This is something that WWE needs to get through their head. Not everybody needs to be on the WrestleMania card. All you're doing is ruining the card after that. Samoa Joe for the United States Championship doesn't have an opponent. Rey Mysterio pinned him. I don't think it's going to be Rey Mysterio versus Samoa Joe because then what would you do with Andrade? Andrade deserves a WrestleMania match. So what I propose is, it was a fatal four-way on a couple of occasions on SmackDown Live. Why the fuck not do it at WrestleMania as well? But add a nice little stipulation to it. Why don't we make it a ladder match? I think everybody would like that. And maybe put Rusev and Nakamura in that match and make it a 6-man. I think that would be a lot better than muddying up the SmackDown Live tag team titles where it should only be the Usos and the Hardys. Put the Bar in the Battle Royal. They really haven't done anything of note in the last couple of months. Yeah, they were tag team champions and they lost those titles to the team of Shane McMahon and The Miz, but who cares? Who really gives a shit? Bobby Lashley doesn't have an opponent. Intercontinental Championship. Bad enough that they put the title on this guy. Makes the title look even less important. The fact that the title doesn't have a match at WrestleMania yet is just the cherry on top of the shit Sunday that is WrestleMania. Who's he going to defend the title against? There really is nobody that is perfect for this than Finn Balor, which is a sad thing to say. This is fucking sad. And I laugh at the thought of WWE advertising the Demon versus somebody at WrestleMania with this recent WWE WrestleMania 35 advertisement showcasing the Demon. So, you mean to tell me that Finn Balor didn't need the Demon for Brock Lesnar or didn't feel the need for the Demon to beat Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship, but he feels the need to have the Demon come out for Bobby Lashley? And I don't want to hear some numbers game thing. Well, Finn Balor might bring out the Demon to even the odds. A fucking half of Brock Lesnar is more damaging and devastating than Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor, Bobby Lashley and Leo Rush rather combined. I don't give a fuck. Who gives a shit? This is what you're bringing the Demon back for? Bobby Lashley and Leo Rush. I have no words. No words. Roman Reigns. I'm assuming that Roman Reigns is battling Drew McIntyre. I mean, it doesn't make any other sense. This is what they did on Monday Night Raw this past week. Took him out. Claymore kick right into the steel post. And then the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and the Women's Battle Royal. Both are worthless. Both are completely worthless. Now, there are some ideas being flown around out there or thrown about the Women's Battle Royal if WWE doesn't have any plans for Asuka, because Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville do not deserve a WrestleMania women's title match. Now, what I would legitimately do is have Shayna Baszler come on in and make her debut at WrestleMania, win the Women's Battle Royal, and the idea that was thrown around by a few people in the community, the winner of the Women's Battle Royal challenge is Asuka later in the evening. Why not have that be Shayna Baszler or somebody of importance other than Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville? That's your WrestleMania card, folks. So if we go through the 7 matches that we know are confirmed, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 14, 15, 16, 17 matches. 17 matches for WrestleMania. At WrestleMania, that does not include Dean Ambrose or The Undertaker. 17 matches. Is it necessary? I don't really understand the logic behind all of this. Why? And again, I ask you, look at the matches that are already confirmed. How many of those spots are taken up by Hall of Famers, part-timers, or people who are not going to be here after WrestleMania is over? It's ridiculous. WrestleMania is a shell of its former self. 8 hours means that it cannot start at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the time zone in which I will be watching. God forbid the people over in the United Kingdom. 7 p.m. if it's an 8-hour show? So the pre-show is going to be 2 hours, and we're going to extend it to 1 a.m.? Is that what you're telling me? So don't anticipate a fucking review at 1 o'clock in the morning. God forbid the people sitting there live. I don't know who would enjoy this. And then WWE wants to know why less and less people are coming to these events every single year. They're realizing that I don't want to sit there for 8 hours. This is a detrimental effect on the overall show. Less people are going to go there live. They're not going to want to sit there for that long. The exorbitant amount of money that people got to spend just to have a fucking good time over there. Merchandise and taking the kids and food and drink and hotel and airfare. It's like a fucking half a year's salary just to enjoy WrestleMania. The lackluster event that is WrestleMania. 8 hours. And on top of that, everybody that you should be putting in the top of the card that's filled up by part-timers, you're simply adding more to the show because those spots are taken up by people who aren't full-time. Now, Wrestle Kingdom's doing 2 nights. Wrestle Kingdom is doing 2 nights. There's no reason why WWE can't do 2 nights of WrestleMania. One on Saturday and one on Sunday. Why not? I genuinely don't understand the need or the desire for 8 hours of a WrestleMania. You cannot do something for 8 hours consecutively and enjoy it. Especially the modern day current WWE product. There's nothing on this show outside of Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte, and Kurt Angle's retirement. Maybe the Revival, Alistair Black and Ricochet, the Usos and Hardys, those are good, solid matches. Samoa Joe, possibly, depending on what they do with the United States Championship. But the rest of the fucking card? Man, you're looking at a below 5 average show. And then there'll be some people in the community, oh, WrestleMania was a 9. A 9? A 9. I mean, my favorite pay-per-view of all time is the 1993 King of the Ring and ECW One Night Stand 2006. Those aren't even 9s. How could you gauge this being a 9 compared to those shows? You gotta be out of your fucking mind. I genuinely don't understand this. So, if this is the case, WrestleMania is going to need to start at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. 8 hours. From 2 all the way till about 10. 11 is the max. Why do this to people? People are going to end up calling out of work to watch this whole show. Kids are going to have to call out of school. Right? How many kids are going to be in that audience? How many people are going to be parents in that audience? They got to take their kids to school or themselves to work the next day. Not getting home till 2:30 in the morning. Gotta be up at 6, get the family ready. Is it worth it? You're gonna have to legitimately take vacation days and sick days just to consume WrestleMania. It's not even worth it. And I'm not comparing WrestleMania to Wrestle Kingdom. Depending on how you feel in the landscape that is pro wrestling, some people think that Wrestle Kingdom is more prestigious than WrestleMania. That is your opinion. But WrestleMania is the biggest wrestling event in the world. That doesn't mean it needs to be the longest. If WWE hankered down and gave us 8 or 9 top-level matches that weren't muddied by fucking Hall of Famers and part-timers, Shane McMahon and Triple H and The Undertaker and John Cena and Kurt Angle. I mean, you don't know. You don't know how negative this is and the fucking feeling it just gives off. You know, Vince McMahon, there was a report that Vince McMahon doesn't see anyone as a top-level guy in the company, clearly. Clearly, you might be on WrestleMania's card, but you aren't in the top of the fucking card. The top of the card is taken up by McMahon family members and part-timers. That is a dead giveaway as to what the company thinks of their current roster. That the fact is, they don't see anybody in the company right now who's going to be the next guy to lean their shoulders on. Absolutely sickening. And the simple fact, you know, you might disagree with me. There might be some people in the community that disagree with me. The simple fact is, you don't need everybody to be on this show. You don't need everybody to be on this show. Seriously, Nia Jax and Tamina. You got Mandy Rose and Sony Deville possibly for the Women's Championship on SmackDown Live. This is an absolute fucking just... Let's put everybody on the show for the sake of getting everybody a payday, and it's WrestleMania. We got to give back to the roster. This is their night. If you didn't do anything of importance, or if you didn't do anything that the fans legitimately cared about all year, what makes you think you deserve to be on WrestleMania's card? This is for the elite. This is for the top of the top. At that point, you're just saying WrestleMania isn't important because everybody's fucking on it. Why don't you make WrestleMania into a show that is not only prestigious to the fucking fans, but prestigious to the people that work in the company? Like, if everybody's on WrestleMania every year, what kind of vibe does that give? It kind of lessens the value and the importance of WrestleMania. Look at TakeOver. How much do we want more of TakeOver every single time there's a TakeOver? How many times have people cried, oh, I wish I could sit here for an hour and watch TakeOver, 2.5 hours. Make it 3, extend it to 3.5. Why is there only 5 matches? Do 6 or 7. You know why they do that? Because they want to keep you coming back for more. Do you also want to know why they do that additionally? It's because it sends the message to the roster that if you want to work your fucking ass off, you could be here too. This isn't an event that everybody's going to get on. You got to show me how badly you fucking want it. WrestleMania is like fucking a D-level pay-per-view. Everybody's on it. Wrestling is the least important aspect of the fucking show. I know what I'm talking about, man. You might not agree with me, but that means that you're salty because the truth is being spread. I wish WrestleMania was more like TakeOver. To me is more like WrestleMania. Takeovers are more like WrestleMania to me, not because the action is exactly what I want it to be, but the importance of these takeover shows is clear as day. I could book 2 or 3 additional matches on this fucking takeover show that would be takeover worthy. That's happening in New York City on April 5th. But they won't do it. They won't do it. Do you want to know why? Because they want exactly what I stated. If you want to work your fucking ass off, that could be you. We're not going to give it to just anybody. And there's plenty of time to do it. And there's room to add. They just refuse to because they want it to be a certain way. And WWE wants to lessen the value of WrestleMania every single year. I'm done talking about this shit. WrestleMania being 8 hours? Fucking bullshit, man. You ain't getting a fucking review if this thing bleeds into 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm telling you right now. Finally, guys, there's a news story here about Vince McMahon not being a fan of this recent NXT Call-Up. Who is it? Johnny Gargano? Alistair Black? Ricochet? Who is it? Now, WWE recently called up a few names to the roster within the past 3 months. EC3 is one of those superstars, but he has not received much of a push at all. There is a reason for this, and it comes from the very top of WWE. John Cena might be totally open for a big WrestleMania match against EC3. I believe EC3 just recently put it out there that he would love to fight John Cena at WrestleMania 36. Now, EC3 was on the Gorilla Position podcast, and he mentioned that he spoke to John Cena about a possible match next year in Tampa. EC3 says that his aspirations in WWE include a big match at next year's WrestleMania in Tampa, and it would be a big deal as well because EC3 revealed that he has already spoken to John Cena about making it happen. He says, and I quote, "That is my goal. That's my aspiration and a match I'm going to work for and putting it out there in the universe. Saying you're going to do something and going out and doing it, there's no better feeling in the world. So I'm saying that's what I'm going to do and let the chips fall where they may." End quote. So that is what he has put out there in the universe. Well, Vince McMahon certainly put it out there in the universe that he's not a fan of EC3. Right now, Wrestling News is stating that Vince McMahon is not seeing anything for EC3 right now. There should be no reason why EC3 can't play a number of different roles or different parts in a storyline on Raw or SmackDown. There are actually people in the company who are legitimately pissed off at how he is being used, and they're pulling for him to get a spot on the roster. However, it's up to Vince McMahon, and he's not high at all on the former Impact Wrestling champion. And that's where it all comes from. I mentioned this once or twice before. There is absolutely no reason why EC3 should have been called up if this is what was the end result. Now, Vince McMahon made the decision to pull this group of 6 up. EC3 was one of those 6. If you didn't have plans for EC3, why the fuck was he called up? It's the simple, most legitimate question you could ask anyone. Why was this man called up and pulled from NXT where he's doing nothing and his morale is sinking faster than the fucking Titanic? Why? Or sinking faster than Raw ratings, I should say. That's worse than the fucking sinking of the Titanic. Minus Leo. Why? Why? And why doesn't Vince McMahon find EC3 to be all that interesting? Why doesn't he have a plan? Or why isn't he liked by Vince McMahon? I'll tell you why. It's the same reason I gave a couple of weeks ago when I talked about this fucking story. It's the simple fact that somebody knew that Derek Bateman left the company. They all knew that Derek Bateman went over to Impact Wrestling to go be a relative of Dixie Carter. He went over there to make a name for himself and be a world champion. He made a name for himself based off the fact that he was in the WWE in another company. He wants to come back, quote unquote, home, and he wants to find similar results that he found in Impact Wrestling. But this time, he came into waters that are very oversaturated. He came into a more senile, old, decrepit fuck in Vince McMahon who doesn't know how to book a show anymore. So the simple fact that you went away and you came back thinking that things were going to be different for you, they didn't forget who you were. They didn't forget what you did. They didn't forget where you went. Just like Christian, WWE and Vince McMahon specifically, never seen Christian as a world champion. We're lucky that we got him to hold the big gold belt and the World Heavyweight Championship. That feud with Randy Orton many years ago was fucking fantastic. But Vince McMahon never seen Christian as a world champion. And I don't think they see anything in EC3 for those same reasons. Christian went to Impact to make himself into Christian Cage and make himself into a star. He wanted to come back to the WWE expecting the same results that he's seen in Impact Wrestling. And what he got was a fucking culture shock. Same thing is happening to EC3. There is no one that is going to be able to tell me that this is the reason that the man is just being killed. Or not the reason, rather, that he's being killed right now on WWE television. He lost to fucking Tyler Breeze in a dark match right before Raw. In 4 minutes. You're losing to Tyler Breeze, who I love. And you're losing to Tyler Breeze in 4 minutes? That is something that is reserved for the lowest of the low. Because WWE finds nothing of value in Tyler Breeze either. Absolutely ridiculous. Why was this man called up? If you have no legitimate plan, and this goes against everything that Triple H has stated, we don't want to call anyone up unless there's a plan. So he allowed EC3 to be called up, and he allowed EC3 to die, and they buried him, and now his tombstone reads, forever a loser in WWE. Why? And again, on top of that, you cannot convince me that this man, Vince McMahon, is trying to one-up Triple H. Oh, you got this guy, you took him in, you gave him a home, you gave him some level of importance, you gave him a cool theme, you got him to look right? You gave him a new home. Fuck this guy. Fuck your NXT. Let me take him, and who I don't like, I'll kill. We don't need him. We got so many other fucking people right now on the roster, we don't need him. Same thing's happening with Nikki Cross. Where the fuck is Nikki Cross? Where is Nikki Cross? Might as well be fucking dead at this point. Vince McMahon not a fan of EC3? There you go. What's happening with EC3? Why is he a mannequin? Why is he a mime? Why is he standing there spraying his body with water? Looking into a mirror? Because WWE and Vince McMahon find no value in EC3. There you go. I'm getting the hell out of here. Thank you guys so very much for all your support. Off the Script Extra. Hit that thumbs up. If you guys want to follow me on social media, man, hit that thumbs up and follow me on social media. Like I said, JD from NY206, both on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. JD from New York on Twitch. If you guys want to support on Patreon, you guys know the deal with that. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. BarbershopWindow.com/offthescript for your official merchandise from Pro Wrestling Tees. If you guys want to go get your Bonfire Elite, JD's Elite t-shirt, bonfire.com, link is down in the description of this very video towards the top. And if you guys missed them, please go and check all the other videos that you might have missed this week on the channel. Thank you guys so very much, man. I am getting out of here. I will see you all tomorrow with more content. I might not be doing an NXT review on Wednesday night. I got a few things to take care of, but I will see you guys back with the NXT review on Thursday morning, where we will go over everything that happens on the show, including the fate of Goldie, a.k.a. the NXT Heavyweight Championship, and where that is going, and who will be vying for that title at NXT TakeOver New York, and how we get there. And we'll talk about that on Thursday morning. Until then, guys, like I said, hit that thumbs up, please, and I will see you all right back here with more content right here on the channel. I'll talk to you guys later.